Good afternoon, American history students. I'm Lexi Bacati, and welcome to the Yesterday Show. In this segment, we'll be bringing to your attention several important writers of the former part of the 19th century who created exceptional and unique American literary styles. We also have a special guest whom we brought back from her grave, but more on that later. To start off, I'd like to talk about Washington Irving, William Cullen Bryant, and James Sumner Cooper, the three authors who constituted as the Knickerbocker Group, a group of writers located in New York after the War of 1812. Through their riveting plots of adventure and their comedic tales, the Knickerbocker Group created the first true American style of literature, that is, adventure and satire. Soon after, in the second quarter of the 19th century, literature dawned in the Transcendentalist movement, which was led by educated writers who promoted logic and reason rather than relying on sensory experience, but emotions are overrated anyway. Ralph Emerson, Henry Thoreau, and Walt Whitman all contributed to the expansion of American literature. In the latter half of the 19th century, there were few honorary writers who expanded on the ideas of their predecessors. Humanity-based poets Henry Longfellow and John Whittier, political satirists James Lowell, and Louisa May Alcott and Emily Dickinson, two women who represented their gender in American literature. Horror and sin-obsessed authors included Edgar Allan Poe, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and Herman Melville. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Rising from the grave, here's Harriet Beecher Stowe. Well, hello, Miss Stowe. How are you today?
I'm well, but please call me Harriet.
So, Harriet, as a master abolitionist, what are your views on slavery?
I hate it.
Okay then, so as you know, many of us are familiar with your novel Uncle Tom's Cabin. What prompted you to write such a controversial novel?
Well, since my father's a preacher, I was brought up to believe that every human being was created equal under God. Enslaving innocent people, in my opinion, is the most inhumane crime of all.
Did you ever anticipate getting so much recognition?
No, I had no idea. I was even offered the privilege to meet with Abraham Lincoln, who casually told me that I was the cause of this great war.
Wow, that's a huge legacy to leave. Thank you for coming in to speak with us today.
No, thank you.
Now, let's talk about Joe to see his views on the controversial issues of this time period. Joe, take it away.
Well, thanks for that wonderful introduction, Lexi. Today I'll be discussing some of our favorite influential publications and reports of the 19th century. Dorothea Dix, daughter of a dysfunctional family from Maine, first witnessed the horror of jail and mental asylum conditions when she visited Cambridge Jail and saw masses of people crammed together under poor conditions. After her traumatizing visit, Dix set out to create a movement for asylum reform. Through the publication of reports and her strong advocacy, society's awareness of such conditions rose. Theodore Dwight Well joined the abolitionist movement in 1830 and lectured until he lost his voice in 1836. Then he became the co-editor of the Emancipator and wrote several pieces of anti-slavery literature, including American Slavery as It Is, Testimony of 1,000 Witnesses, and Slavery and the Internal Slave Trade in the United States. William Lloyd Garrison joined the anti-slavery movement at 25 years old, becoming associated with the American Colonization Society, a political group which planned to colonize Africa with freed slaves. In 1830, after realizing the group's crooked intentions, Garrison left and became co-editor of the Genius of Universal Emancipation. In 1831, Garrison published the first issue of his own periodical, The Liberator. And now we have a very special guest, the first writer for the American feminist movement, Margaret Fuller. Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
So tell us about your life. What made you so passionate about women's rights?
Well, I was lucky enough to have been born to an affluent family that could allow me an education. I also educated myself in 3 languages and several other subjects. Naturally, when I saw my fellow women suffering under oppression, I felt it was my duty to save them.
So how did you channel this passion through writing?
I worked as an editor for the Dial. It was fairly common at the time for women to work as editors for popular periodicals.
Now tell us about the book everyone's talked about for the past 150 years.
I published my book, Woman in the 19th Century, an expansion of the essay I wrote for the Dial.
Okay, cool story, bro. Now to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Joe. This is Rachel Flanders reporting for the Yesterday Show, here to inform you about the education system of America, if it can even be called that. Public schoolhouses were funded through taxing of the wealthy in their attempt to save America from the illiterate masses. Particularly in the South, these schools often consisted of 1 room, 1 stove, 1 teacher, and 8 grades. The school teachers were mostly men and put more emphasis on disciplining the students rather than directing them. The students were to learn the bare minimum, the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, and considering only one of the 3 R's actually started with an R, there was some serious work to do. Horace Mann, graduate of Brown University, campaigned effectively for more and better schoolhouses, longer terms, higher pay for teachers, and an expanded curriculum. Now for some girl power. Women played a large role in education as well, including the dedicated Emma Willard, who established the Troy Female Seminary. In 1837, Oberlin College in Ohio shocked traditionalists when it opened its doors to women as well as men. That same year, Mary Lyons established an outstanding women's school, Mount Holyoke Seminary. Go girls! Here from the Dead is famous Noah Webster, author of many textbooks that helped jumpstart American education, and, of course, the Webster's Dictionary. Hello, Mr. Webster. How are you today?
I am sublime.
Okay, so as Schoolmaster of the Republic, can you tell us about some of your reading lessons?
Yes. My literary seminars were employed by scores of juveniles across this grand sovereign, instilling and banging the drum, so to speak, for American chauvinism.
Interesting. And can you tell our viewers what you published in 1828?
I spent 2 indefatigable decades forming my lexicon of English terms and idioms. I wrote a dictionary.
Wow, Mr. Webster. Thank you for your time. Okay.